Hello and welcome to today's video. Today, we got an interesting topic. Now, this one here is one that I've discussed before, and we're going to talk about Pierre Gasly a little bit. Now, previously, I talked about how I didn't really think he was going to be a top team guy. I think Pierre Gasly is one of these very hyped up drivers, and I feel like of a lot of the young drivers and the internet's favorite drivers, he, at least to me, has proven the least. He's one of the least exciting drivers to me, and is generally just pretty hyped up for not doing much. So let's dive into what I think could happen for Pierre Gasly in his career. Obviously, he's one of those drivers that is talked about quite frequently, and one of his things that, maybe where is he going to go in his career? So, obviously, Sergio Perez has re-signed with Red Bull Racing. So, he's going to be there till 2024 at least, alongside Max. So, that's one spot out. So, you have that. The next thing, we got to look at other teams he could go to. So, I don't think Mercedes is an option. A lot of people want him to go to Mercedes. If and when Lewis Hamilton retires, which I don't want him to retire, but I feel like it will be sooner than later. The FA is definitely pushing for him to leave. That's for sure. So, it's pretty lame. But I feel like he is closer to retiring than, people would want. Obviously, the best driver ever in Formula One. How do you replace him? I don't think the Mercedes route is going to be Pierre Gasly. Obviously, George Russell is the future of Mercedes. Obviously, from what he's done this year, has been solid. With that car kind of staying where he should in the third best spot, gaining from some safety car help. So he's been in a solid spot. He's the only driver with a top 5 every race in 2022 so far, as of Monaco, if you're watching this later on. So, he's done solid. He's obviously the future. He was at Williams for a few years, but I don't think that Mercedes is going to go the route of Pierre Gasly. I think they would get Nick DeVries, move him up from being a reserve driver, and I think that's the route that they would go. So he's out. Ferrari, I don't see why you would make a change. And if they were, I feel like they'd want to see more, first of all, from Mick Schumacher. And if anybody's going to move up to Ferrari, it's going to be him. I mean, he's in that, Ferrari spot kind of on the grid. So I think that if anybody's going to move up to Ferrari, which I don't think they will, I think Ferrari keeps their driver lineup. They definitely have a solid lineup. I wouldn't rate it 1 or 2. I would definitely put Red Bull and Mercedes, but I think Ferrari's got a solid driver lineup as well. So I wouldn't touch that. You look at a team like Alfa Romeo. Bottas has multiple years. Joe Wanyá, he's got, I don't really know his contract, but he obviously brings a good amount of money. And F1 wanting to expand more in China, rumors of a second race. I don't see why you would get rid of him. So, Alfa Romeo's set. We're going to go to McLaren. I was like, there's one other team I'm forgetting. McLaren. I don't think that they're going to make a change either for Pierre Gasly. I think McLaren's spot is obviously Lando. He's the future for that team. And then, I think something like getting Pato O'Ward. I think he's a guy that could move up. Now, a lot of people are saying, oh, he's an IndyCar, he's signed a deal. If McLaren wants their best development driver in F1, Pato O'Ward's going to be in F1. I don't think there's a driver in IndyCar that's more ready for F1. I know a lot of people hype up Colton Herta. He's there for me. He doesn't interest me. I'd rather not have him in F1. I don't really care which country a driver comes from, besides, Nikita Mazepin was a yikes coming from Russia. But besides that, I don't really care what country you come from. So if Colton Herta comes from America, it's not going to make me be excited about Colton Herta coming from America. Like, I don't care if he represents America. You know, I don't really want him to be the driver that represents America as a driver either ways because I feel like he's not going to do good. I feel like you can get a better driver or wait a few more years now that F1's getting more popular in America for more drivers to maybe look at that at a younger age. You know, maybe you'll focus on F1. I don't think Colton Herta's the guy. But either way, I think Pato O'Ward would be the other McLaren driver. I think if you're going to get rid of Daniel Ricciardo, who is a very likable driver, very popular driver, I think that somebody like Pato O'Ward could also be very popular. And I think that if you want to get popular, you know, have a fan base be popular, Mexican fans are very, very passionate about their drivers. You see it with Sergio Perez. And I mean, you see it with IndyCar, with Pato O'Ward. So they're very passionate with their drivers. And I think that Pato O'Ward is that guy that you'd want from that standpoint as well. So those are 5 teams out of the way. So who else do we have? Aston Martin. Aston Martin's an interesting one. That's the spot that I could see maybe Pierre Gasly going. I think that they have, how long is Vettel going to keep racing? I think he may do another few years though. And obviously Lance Stroll. He'll be at that team as long as he wants to race in F1. So I don't think that's the one that I would like to come back to. Alpine, if Fernando Alonso wants to keep racing, Fernando Alonso will keep racing. If not, they have Oscar Piastri. And they want to keep Esteban Ocon, get a French driver and a French team. Alpine's out of the question from that standpoint, unless they think keeping a French driver, that Pierre Gasly is better than Esteban Ocon. But they both have one unimpressive win. Like, they both lucked into one win. Their stats are very similar. I don't know why you make that change. So if you want to keep French driving a French car, sure. But they're clearly okay with Ocon. And I think that he's done fine. So I think that that's out of the question as well. So we've done Red Bull, Mercedes, McLaren, Ferrari, Alpine, Alfa Romeo. So we got Haas left to do. How about Haas? Maybe, but do you want to go to Haas? That's the question here. Do you want to go to Haas? Do you want to go to Williams? Not really. So those are out of the question as well for Pierre Gasly, because his thing is moving up. If people think he's going to move up, if people were saying he's a McLaren driver or a Mercedes driver, he's not going to drop down from AlphaTauri to go to a Haas or go to a Williams. So I think that Aston Martin is the most likely place. But I think the most likely place for him to really go is not in Formula One. Because AlphaTauri, he's not staying there. He wants to be in a better team or move up or whatever. He's going to be blocking development drivers for Red Bull as well. Red Bull has AlphaTauri to develop drivers. You know, they're going to say it's their sister team or whatever, change it from being a development team so it sounds better. It's a development team. That's what it is. And when you have Yuri Vips, you have Liam Lawson in F2, you want to move them up. Yuki Tsunoda's done good enough to keep that spot. Pierre Gasly's got to go. So I could see Pierre Gasly not being in F1 in 2023. Do I think he could come back? Yes. But do I think he's done enough to come back? I don't. I don't think Pierre Gasly's done enough to stay in F1. Like, I think he either has to stay at AlphaTauri, like he has to say, I want to be here. This is a team I want to help win. Or whatever he has to say to stay with that team. Or I don't think he's in F1. I just don't see Mercedes wanting him. I don't see McLaren wanting him. Again, Aston Martin is the team that I could see him potentially go into. We're sitting out a year, hoping an Andretti team comes in 2024 and jumping in, being teammates with Colton Herta. That's the reality of Pierre Gasly. I don't think that he's a top-tier talent. And seeing how he performed as a second driver, which is what he'll be at those teams, he's not going to outperform George Russell. He's not going to outperform Lando Norris. Like, he's going to be a second driver. And how did he perform as a second driver against Max? Like, he didn't do good. He told a rumor that he told Adrian Newey how to build a car. Like, you can't tell Adrian Newey how to design a car or build a car. You just can't. Adrian Newey is one of the best designers of an F1 car ever. Like, if not the best. You can't tell him how to do that. He knows that better than anybody. So, those things don't look good, and obviously these other top teams are going to know about that. So, I just don't see a way that he goes to a top team. No, I don't want to come here and ruin all the Stan's days. I do, actually. I do want to ruin the Stan's days, because you guys are wild. But I just think that Alex Albon was out of F1 for a year, and was better in Red Bull than Pierre Gasly. Like, what does that say? You know? Sure, Pierre Gasly did fine last year, and he was in 6th or whatever for every race. Or around that area. But did he really do that impressive against his teammate? Like, Yuki Tsunoda was a rookie who was crashing all the time. Like, does it really look good? You have that much experience. And again, that's the other thing. Alex Albon doing well in 2019 in Red Bull looks bad for Pierre Gasly because he was not a rookie. Alex Albon had done, 11 races, and he went to the top team. Pierre Gasly had already raced for like a year or 2 years. Like, he had that experience. So, I just don't see how that's going to happen. That's my predictions for, driver markets for 2023. Pierre Gasly, I think, will be the main talking point because so many people love him on the internet. But I just don't see him going to a top team. I don't see any of those teams wanting him. And I mean, the teams aren't going to come out and say that his win wasn't impressive. They're not going to say that. They're going to discredit him like that. But let's be honest. Let's discuss how he won in Monza. All right? Like, you can look at how Daniel Ricciardo won in Monza in 2021. That was impressive. He was the best driver that weekend. You look at 2020, though. Come on. It's kind of similar to Ocon's Hungary win. Like, Ocon won in Hungary because Valtteri Bottas went bowling and Mercedes went throwing. Like, that's the reality of it. Bottas took out both Red Bulls and himself and Lando Norris. And then Charles Leclerc got taken out. So all those drivers were out. And then Lewis Hamilton stayed out on intermediates and had to do a lap on a dry track with intermediates because Mercedes threw and didn't pit him. That's how he won in Hungary. Not impressive. Sure, him staying in the lead against Vettel the whole time? Whatever, you can talk about that. But purely just the fact of Ocon getting that win, you got to look at the circumstances, wasn't impressed. And if you look at a situation like Monza 2020, which is Pierre Gasly's greatest moment, and he looks like the best driver in the world or whatever, he won a race by fortunate safety car. Lewis Hamilton getting a penalty for going in the pits when they were closed because he didn't realize and the team didn't realize. Max having car problems. Alex Albon in the Red Bull as well. I think he had a penalty or something, had to start further back. Bottas had something wrong with his car, so he couldn't pass a lot of cars. Lance Stroll locks up the brakes in the corner. He goes deep. Gasly gets by. Like, that's how Pierre Gasly wins a race. All the top drivers, all the top team drivers, Mercedes and Red Bull in 2020 having issues. So those four had to have issues, and Lance Stroll was in front of you and had an issue. So you had to get a safety car, penalty, engine failure, all that stuff. for you to win. So, sure, winning an F1 is impressive. I'm not going to take away and say Gasly winning an F1 in that sense isn't impressive. To be on that list of people that have won an F1. What I'm saying is the manner of the win is not impressive, and I don't think she would look at the same as a driver who comes out and wins a race by leading every single lap, or comes out by starting on pole and leading all but 2 laps. It's not the same. Sure, you held off Sainz, but come on. That one performance is not going to make a top team say, we need that guy. His body of work that he's had does not stack up. And a lot of these teams are going to want young development drivers that they're going to try to have be their future or be a future number 2. And Pierre Gasly has not shown that. I don't think Pierre Gasly is that guy. I don't. So I think he's out of F1 in 2022. Thank you all for watching. Let me know your hate comments down below. And we'll see you guys in the next one.